podcast.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, February 17th, and this is the fourth episode, not the final episode, of Cold Blooded After Dark. I'm your host, Travis from Python Susie. With me tonight, we've got, as usual, Doc from Boyd's R Us, and we got our sponsor and guest host, Holly from Texoma Exotics, joining us tonight. And last but not least, late to the show by a good 15 seconds, we've got Zach.
I'm not. It's 9 o'clock. You brought me
Reptile
on
ads,
stage at 9.
our parts prestige, Pythons, Husbandry Pro representative, all the above. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm great.
I'm good too. Zach, you have to learn the line from Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. A wizard is never early or late. He always arrives when his intent is to. So
that's right.
So you arrive at the exact precise time that you intended to. So
exactly. I was told 9 o'clock. I was here at 9 o'clock.
Straight up.
That's right. Down to the last second. Tight schedule. So tonight we're going to chat some about vending, all the things that go into it besides the cost or in addition to the cost.
Yeah.
So that's all the time and effort, stress, sacrifice that you guys have to make when you're doing shows. And why the heck are you doing it? What's the trade-off? So we got Zach and Doc who are, doing quite a few shows. Zach, I think, does all of them, like everywhere.
He does.
So
every show.
Let's get into it. Let's start with Zach. Tell us about your first show that you vended. Why did you do it? And what was the chaos that ensued? Because I'm sure it was chaotic.
So if we're talking about for reptiles, the first show I vended was Repticon. That was about 5 years ago now. The first couple years, everything sold online. And I was actually disappointed because there was COVID stuff. So you couldn't do expos. Whenever I started producing snakes, there was nowhere to go set up and sell. So everything just kind of sold online. And, but I don't know, I planned on doing expos from the beginning and I was excited about it. I was looking forward to it. I've, vended expos for custom knives and dogs in the past and went to, we always used to go to the horse auctions and stuff and do all that stuff too when I was young. So I was excited to, be somewhere with a bunch of animals, selling animals, people about it and stuff. And I've just always been excited about sitting there and doing the face-to-face interaction. You don't get this with just posting a picture and sticking it up somewhere on a listing site.
All right. So what did you, your first show that you vended, what went into you getting to the show and getting set up?
Oh man. Honestly, not the whole lot, I got a tablecloth and some displays and, I was big time and, 5 years ago, there wasn't near as many people with near as nice setups as you see nowadays. It bloomed up. Whenever COVID started collapsing and competition started getting fierce, you noticed almost exponentially everybody's setup started getting nicer at the same time. And my first one, I just had a tablecloth and a couple displays and just a little overhead light. My displays didn't even match. It wasn't the same brand or anything. And I'd bought them secondhand just to be able to have something for a show. And because I didn't have a lot of money and I wasn't investing much, I had a very limited pool of cash and I was like, hey, this is what I got. And so I was able to find displays. I did have a branded tablecloth. So I was all excited about that. I was actually just came across news feed last November for my first show. And I just, I had a whole different logo and everything back then. And I remember thinking I was big time and wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know no one's ever going to buy this $225 snake on my table. Like maybe some of these $50 and $75 ones, but definitely no one's ever going to spend $225 for one of these snakes.
But now your setup is amazing.
It's evolved a little bit. It's definitely
Oh
evolved.
no, he has next levels. He has towers. He has all kinds of stuff, and he doesn't just take ball pythons. He takes an array of things.
And I was actually showing my wife like your setup, like how nice it looked. I was really happy when I saw your setup. Like it really stands out. Did you, when you source for your cloth, like the branded cloth, did you source from like a reptile person, or you went with your own design to like a different company? Like how did you came up with the idea?
So the design of the stuff, I use Andrea Leopardini. He's overseas. He's very respected in the reptile hobby. He didn't do my logo, but I went to him with my logo, and that's all I had was a logo. And I was like, man, I need a show setup that's just stellar out of the park. I said, no black, no white, no red. It's got to match my color themes and not look like anybody else's stuff. And I literally took the first revision he gave me. It was just phenomenal. He did my Facebook backgrounds, my profile picture, the banner, the tablecloths. He did a few things. He does like a package deal where if you get like 5 design items, you get the 5th one free. So I had him do a bunch of stuff for me. So that's what I did on that one. And then the actual materials and everything, I get all my stuff from Showfire Displays, and I just had some other friends who that's who they recommended. That's who they had got their stuff from. My first order was, I don't even remember, it was some random company, and I didn't like the cloth was cheap and like real flimsy, like some of that, more like the stretchy cloth material on some of the tablecloth that you see, but it's not even stretchy. It was drapey, but like really thin. Like if any of y'all have ever thought you were going to order something nice from Shein or Wish or something, and then you get it, and it's that like cheap wannabe knockoff like jacket material that they have. That's what this was in the form of a tablecloth. And like I think I washed it 2 or 3 times before the seams were already starting to come apart on it and stuff. But yeah, Showfire Displays has done all the ones I have now, and they do my banners, they do everything, and I've even gotten an account set up with them for my Husbandry Pro stuff now. So they're really top notch. I mean, people have sent me stuff where it's like, oh, here it might be $1 cheaper or $1 cheaper than that, but Showfire Displays, I've been able to get my artwork into them. They correct it for me where I've had stuff where it was wrong. I've given them very tight deadlines before, and they message me back the next day like, hey, you've got a really tight deadline. Let's get this done. Here's the approval, and got it out to me like the very next week in some instances. So, I don't mind paying an extra $1 here or there versus, because that isn't a Showfire Displays is an American company. So at least, you're getting your stuff made here in America.
But did you get the wrinkle free this time or no on this new one?
The new one's like wrinkle resistant. It doesn't wrinkle near as bad as my white one does. But I'll tell you what, if you freaking crumple those things up into a ball and just throw 4 of them back in the corner or stuff them down in something, yeah, no, it's coming out with wrinkles.
Yeah, because that's something that people have to realize, talking about like the minor things that you don't think about, even the wrinkles on because you might have an amazing display, and then all of a sudden, like you go to put your cloth, like a tablecloth down, and it looks like crap, and then your whole display is going to look bad.
I know. Then you're like looking around at everybody else's, and you're all like, "Does anybody have a steamer? I need a steamer." And it's like, you don't need a steamer. Once you realize that if you just take a couple seconds to fold your tablecloths at the end of the show versus throwing them in a ball, you don't really need a steamer. A little bit of a crease down the middle is never going to kill anybody. It looks totally fine. But yeah, like a couple things I wish people would have told me in the beginning was, save your tablecloth bag if you get a custom tablecloth. My 6-footers, I put them all back in the bag every time. It keeps them so much cleaner and nicer just to put them back in the bag. And if you're doing like 5 lights or anything, everybody uses those 5 lights. If you're not using Next Levels and you're using like ARS or something like that, the 5 light brand is like what everybody uses for their stuff.
Now it's
No one
hard.
tells you to save the box to put that stuff back in and to not tighten any of those freaking screws when you're assembling. You'll tighten that stuff and those things will strip right out. And now you're sitting here with this weird, awkward light that just doesn't fit in your vehicle. And you're like trying to like keep it from getting damaged and save the box for everything show related. It will help.
I had a good question for you because I think it was somebody who reached out to me before was like, hey, are you coming to the show? I need something to clean my next levels with. They're acrylic. What do you use?
Oh, there's not a specific brand. Like I've got one that I use right now. But it's just something somebody gave me. It's just an acrylic cleaner. Like you get a little bottle with them that comes with your next levels. I usually don't recommend that stuff. It's not the best. Like it works all right for like the static cleaning and like keeping the fingerprints off. But you can definitely find some better stuff on Amazon. Yeah. See, so that's clean and shine.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just need to like spritz them up, I do have some of that. And I will hit them with that, like, every couple shows or something just to re-hit that fingerproof because it puts that good fingerproof layer on them, especially the first level down there where the little kids are always touching them and stuff. It'll make it to where you can just go through, Saturday morning or Sunday morning and a quick wipe will take everything down without having to clean them again or, really clean them.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find some stuff on Amazon for acrylic cleaner and light scratch remover. And that's what I recommend because that stuff that they send you doesn't do crap for like light scratches. And you will get light scratches. You will want to use a microfiber towel to wipe them down, a new one, a fresh one that hasn't been washed. Because you're, even like if you use rough and harsh detergents and you wash your microfiber towels, they can put little swirls in the acrylic. So I always recommend a fresh one. They're stupid cheap. You can pay $10 and buy like a 20-pack of microfibers.
And how many shows do you do a year on average?
30 plus.
30 plus. So what is your process for your packing process and then your unpacking process? And then you got to have a reset in there somewhere, I'm assuming.
So packing process, unpacking process, Husbandry Pro helps out with lots of it, man. That makes my show stuff so much faster because, like week to week, like right now, there's 0 babies that have become available since my last show.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm doing is going, marking off what I sold the week before in Husbandry Pro. And then I go to the little sales list and I print a sales list with my new inventory on it. And then I go to the label printer and I redo my labels every time because I'm weird about them. Like some of them will start lifting and curling and you don't have to, but I redo every label every time for every display. And so I just filter in my labels by is for sale, select all, click print in Husbandry Pro. It pops out 87 to however many labels I need. And I go through and I just slap them on. I merchandise my displays. If you don't know what merchandising is, you can look that up online and watch some videos on how to merchandise things. You will want to merchandise your displays if you're doing pet level shows. You will want to group your displays if you're doing high-end shows like NARBC and stuff where you're going to be bringing in project shoppers. You want all your double pets for Hypo Clown in one spot where everybody can see them. But when you're doing a pet level show, you're going to hear all day, I'm just looking for something that catches my eye or whatever pops out at me. And when you're appealing to a pet customer, you're now in a retail setting. So you need to merchandise your animals when you're putting them in the displays. And so I'm always sitting there every time, because animals move, animals shift when you sell them. And so I redo it every time fresh, make sure I'm putting light snakes by dark snakes. I do group by pricing, but I'll group by pricing. And then, you use your cheaper snakes to draw them in on the outside areas. You use your more expensive stuff in the middle. That's people know where to look for it. Stuff like that. And do whatever you can to make your animals stand out from other animals in there, make them pop, make them look better than the next guys.
And even where you display on the display, the middle, the center display is the one that people put their eyes on first. So like if you put your prettiest snakes, they tend to look at the other ones too, like the ones that stand out the most. I noticed that people sometimes I had banana, black pastel, hypo, hat clown. I had a male and a female, and I put the male in the middle and the female on top. People, if there was a female, they didn't even see the one that was on top, like on the top row. So I said, no, right here. So like to me, the one that is in the center is always like the eye grabber on the display, not even one at the bottom. At least every show that I've
Yeah,
been
the
to.
bottom row is rough. The bottom row is rough. You've got to put stuff like I'll try to put like pies or bananas or stuff on the bottom row, something that like really pops and stand out, because people will just look right over that top row. Their kids will look at that bottom row. It's where all their hands are going.
And that's what
mom and dad, like us taller people, they're looking middle to top row. Where your lights shine on your displays kind of has a little bit of play in it as well. You can direct the lighting a little bit on some. And
have you ever used anything like barbed wire or like an electrified tape or something at the bottom row? So when kids touch it, because it's amazing that they don't just touch it. They come and they just like,
oh, they'll smack it. They'll flat ass hit it.
I was like, I have to breathe. Like,
yeah, pack your anxiety meds.
When the parents don't say anything, that's what pisses me off the most. Like, I try to teach my kids respect, but
so why not put a do not touch sign right there at the front?
They don't know how to read.
The people who are going to touch them are the ones who don't know how to read it. And that, I mean, and then you got kids like this past weekend, for example, I had this, y'all have seen him, that little Dennis the Menace kid, that little shit, when he walks past and he's like smacking on my glass display. And I'm like, whoa. Hey, we don't do that. The snakes don't like it. Plus we don't want to mess up the displays and put our fingerprints on there. If you could not do that, I'd really appreciate it. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. No problem. I'm usually nice and polite about it the first time, even though I really don't want to be. So this little kid like walks off, and I catch him like walking past, and I catch him eyeballing me. And I was like, why is the kid eyeballing me? It's because he's looking to see if I'm looking. I swear to God, I took 2 steps away from that display to go talk to another customer, and I look back, and he's over there. Before I could say anything, like, I know Holly knows Jesse. Freaking Jesse like jumps past me, reaches across and tries to grab his head. He's like, we said don't touch that. That's enough. and loud. Jesse's like ex-military. He's like, I said that's enough. Like customers, everyone like looks and they're like, and I'm like, oh, he was doing it before. That little shit, I'll be damned. Like 5 minutes later, he's walking back past and he's like, doing this number.
Listen, his parents are nowhere to be found.
Like I catch him walking up to it, and I said, I don't even think about it. Or I said, don't even think about it. He looked at me, and I was like, yeah.
Dude, you need to keep a fly swatter over there at your table and play with it, like circle it around your finger or something. Let them little kids know without their parents knowing.
He was the worst. He was one of the worst I remember. Like, but I've had them do it like intentionally, and then you're like, don't do that again, and they're like,
you became their dopamine release.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell
I had one of those kids.
Jesse pretty good, like messing with stuff on the other side of the table too. Like I try to be really cool and chill about it, not give them much of a reaction, and usually they'll move on.
No, it's tough because like the animals are already stressed, and then you have usually the lights are amazing to show the animals, but I bet that they hate those lights over there.
They do. It does wonders for the socialization. Like I find that like after these snakes have been to a few shows with the lights and stuff, especially if it's like a pretty snake I'm getting out a bunch, like, oh man, like they come out of a shell. Like I end up with very, very few of them that end up like staying in the, like the hard balls is what I call them, where they just, are real timid and stuff. Like they just kind of get used to it a little bit, I don't like it for them and stuff, but they do. They definitely get used to a little bit. What's bad?
How's the family do with your show circuit, Zach? You're on the road quite a bit. What's that look like? They do fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's 30 plus a year, and I don't stay home for any of them. I get a hotel for every single one of them. Because of that, my wife says that I don't have a job, that I just go and play with my friends every weekend. She would like to point out the fact that I don't have to do any chores around the home. I get to leave. go somewhere exotic and stay in a hotel all weekend with no responsibilities or cares in the world. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is hard work. You got to do this. Like you can't snakes don't just stand out here all day and sell themselves.
Right.
Yeah, people don't understand the mental stress that goes. Even though you're having fun, you have to be on it, and you have to talk to people, and you have sometimes to talk to someone for 20 minutes, and they're not going to buy anything. And
they're not, like they've told you 5 times they're not going to, and they're just
so.
So why don't you go into that a little bit, Rafi? Talk about the mental stress. I mean, I know you've got a number of snakes you're responsible for. You got all the logistics, and then you got to talk to people all day long on top of that.
I was gonna mention Zach is full time on Husbandry Pro, and then the snakes. Like I have a day job that is very intense, and I travel a lot too. So, and I always talking to people, and even though I love talking to people, when you are obligated to talk to people, sometimes put a toll on you. And then you're going to talk to people that are not nice, and you have to be nice or respectful, at least, with those people. And you're going to find a lot of nice people that you want to talk to, but it's tiring. Let me put it this way: you are on your feet the entire day. You can't be sitting down. You can't be on your phone. You can't.
Not if you want to do well.
Sometimes you're gonna have a breeder that is vending next to you. It's good because then you can have the interaction. At least you're not by yourself. That you don't have anybody to talk to, right? So you usually stay there between 8 to 10 hours, just for the show, plus the before that you have to organize and everything. And what I found out that is really good is to have a checklist. First, figure out if you've never done a show before, talk to people, try vending with someone. My first show was not vending for myself, was helping. And then you see what they got, you see how they do, and you take a little bit from everyone, right? You look at that display and you think it's nice. Your buddy has their own display, and then you see like what works, what doesn't. And you make your own ideas.
If you know somebody who's doing shows, reach out and ask them. They would be more than happy to have you come along to a show. Nobody wants to do a show by themselves. I've done it like twice ever, and I feel so bad for anyone who has to do it. Like, I don't know if I could do this if I had to do them by myself. Like, I'd shoot myself. Like, it's bad.
It's tough, especially us that we like to talk. So like to have someone to chat a little bit, and then you're talking about your projects and different things, your animals, and then kind of makes the time goes faster. Another big thing that I learned from Andre from Chimera is the stress mats, like the foamy mats that you have the memory foam. Those are a lifesaver, and you don't
realize their weight in gold.
You don't realize until like you were out of them, and then when you step back on them, it's like you're stepping on a cloud. It's like
I'll sacrifice my chair and leave my chair at home before I'll leave my relief mats at home. Like, no way, I don't need a chair. I need my relief mats.
So have 1 or 2 boxes, depending on how much stuff you have, right? But with business cards, stickers, cleaning products, an extra set of lights if your goes like if you don't have like a next level that is attached to, like have a set of lights, like a spare one, tape, bags to pack your animals, or if you're going to use deli cups to give the animal to people to take home. Even shipping boxes, like if you get like you are in Chicago and it's the winter show and it's like freezing, it's going to be an added value. Like get the person, if they are local, give them like a shipping box, and then the person can take the animal safely and not like freeze to death. They had some people selling those actually at Bob's show, this last one. Like they had like the whole setup with the heat pack and stuff if people are driving and stuff, so you keep the animal safe. And keep those things separate. Like if you have like that box is my show box or my 2 show boxes. I know that Holly got the idea. Was it you, Zach? The Milwaukee,
Yeah. The rolling toolboxes are freaking phenomenal for keeping all that stuff organized. Like in the beginning, I had like a big tote with like pieces of cardboard in there, like separating stuff, and like it would always get messed up. And then, the last thing you want is whenever you got a customer sitting there, like I've had it happen in the beginning where you're like, let me just get you a bag, 1 second. You're like frantically digging for a bag. You look up, they're just kind of sliding the snake back into its display slot, and they're like, we're gonna walk around and think about it real quick. And you're like, no, I got I found it. I found the bag. And they're like, they're gone. And you're like,
you can lose the momentum, and that's what I was gonna say. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more proactive because it's that millisecond of the decision. They're looking at another animal and they're like kind of in doubt, and they're gonna say yes, but you don't have Cash App or you don't have ammo. Have everything except like
be ready to take a credit card.
Exactly. Have Square, Tap. Like most
Nobody
of my
brings cash anymore.
I always tap. Like always tap. Like not even Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, anything, but have everything so they cannot say no. And then I have all forms of payment. Like the only thing that I don't take is checks.
And if they do pay for cash, give them a little discount. Say, hey, if you want to pay for cash, I'll knock $25-$50 off.
Yeah, exactly. Like have be flexible with your payments. Don't be too rigid. And pricing too. If someone just wants to feel better that they got a little discount, if you give something, the person is probably going to buy it. Because if you lose that sale and you don't sell that animal for 2 months, you lost that discount that you're going to give.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have to be very active. Like talk to people, talk to their kids. I mean, the kids ask about the interest. Even if they're not buying, you're helping like the kid like flourish on the reptile hobby, and then they're probably going to buy a snake from somebody else in the future, or maybe they're going to come back to you. You have to. I know that everybody talks about this, but until you vend the show, you see how important you have to be. And you can't be reactive. You have to be proactive. Like you have to approach people and know the kind of people, right? You have to have that feeling like if they want to be approached or if they don't want to be approached, and don't talk too much with people that don't want to talk to you. Like if they don't start a conversation, let them be. Like I'm here if you need me, like any questions. And reading people is very important in the show. Very, very
important. Don't stand out in the middle of the aisle sitting there trying to beg people to buy your snakes. I mean,
you will piss off every vendor around you if you're standing in front of your table.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if you're standing in front of your table, it better be because you can't reach the animal from out back and you're standing right next to your table. Like, I mean, that happens. But man, you'll always see that new guy who's like standing in the middle of the aisle, talking real loud, and like he's getting attention and making a scene that cuts people. Like they're walking down the aisle, looking here and there. They see that, they draw towards them. Whoever's around you sees that, is pissed off at you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like almost all show promotions have that somewhere in the rules that tell you you're not allowed to stand in front of your table. And it's a big one that like is not enforced very often. And it's more of an etiquette thing than anything else. You know, you got to be considerate of the vendors around you.
Yeah. And talking about preparation too, it's the preparation doesn't start 1 day before, 2 days before, 3 days before, like probably like 2 weeks before. You have to start like looking at your animals, or even before them, is like, I'm going to take this guy. And then when it's time to pack, one is in shed. And then you have to go to the next option because you don't want to have like a really bright and beautiful animal that is in shed in a show. It happens sometimes. That's what you have to bring. But
if you got full disc, but you know, like I'm with Doc there. Like it's one thing if I've got 15 animals and I've got 20 slots available. I don't care what it looks like. You know, I mean, as long as it's, you know, not looking sickly or anything, you know, I'm taking it. It's even if it's the shed. But you got 30 display slots and you got 40 animals, you know, I'm going to leave that one in shed home. I've got 2 of this one. I'm going to leave one, or have it there and have it behind the table and not out there on the table ready to, you know, replace the slot if you sell one.
And you're going to have those that shed, they had a little bit of stuck shed, and then you're going to have those opaque scales. Like, even though you know that on the next shed that's gonna go away, you don't want the bad impression. Like don't bring animals that have issues, or
Yeah, do not bring animals with stuck shed to the show. I see this one all the time. They're like, to us, it might be just a little bit of stuck shed, but it looks so tacky to people who don't know any better. It looks like we've got bad husbandry. You're not doing something right. It's easy enough to fix it or leave it home.
Yeah, I totally agree. I usually I have, and even Travis was making fun of my beautiful star that I use on my magnet for the gravid females. That I had a misspelling on one of my videos, little bastard.
You used the yellow star.
Yellow star.
Actually, I didn't understand the last two sentences you said. It just all kind of run together.
No, just Travis making fun of I have like different magnets for different things, and I have like a yellow star that I use for the gravid females. When the female's gravid, I know that I don't have to do anything else. It's just like it has a yellow star. And I had a misspelling on my video. It's like yellow start, and he was like making fun, and he was like Star David, and so. But what I do is like I have clips that like blue clips that I put on the tubs of the animals that I'm gonna bring to the show. So if you don't have Husbandry Pro like Zach has, you can like do it like on the app. But like if you don't manually, I visually see, especially if you have the ARS Mini, you start getting cross eyes because you look at that thing and it's just like, where is this? And then you're looking at the labels. So if you start like tagging, like you know the animals to grab, they pre-print all your labels before the show, like days before. And then if you can prepare, just like Zach said, prepare like by colors, by morphs. And I even thought, I haven't done it yet, but I thought of putting behind the display, like a little acrylic display saying, whatever, monarch, clowns, clown hypo, whatever. And then people look and they know that on that display, I have that kind of like those recessives, for example. And the next display, I have those other recessives. It's kind of, I haven't done it, but I thought about it just like so people like can visually, when they approach your table, they're going to see what you have on that display, for example.
Well, and don't let Doc scare you. Like he's talking about, like, as far as I know, your first show, like you want to have everything ready ahead of time. Me, if I'm leaving Friday, I start my show prep Friday. And I can have 100, I can have 100 animals, the displays labeled, the sales sheet printed off, all the labels printed off, and all the animals loaded. It takes me longer to load the animals than anything else, but like to get the labels print off and the sales sheet from Husbandry Pro is like 15 minutes. And then, usually about 2 hours of loading the animals, depending on how many carpet pythons I have to stick in deli cups. That greatly affects the loading time. Like ball pythons go right in displays, but I swear if you're taking anything little and wiry and you're using deli cups, a lot extra time because they don't just go in there voluntarily.
You've got a system by now. I mean, it's all ingrained. So you've got your checklist and you've got your process down pat.
Yeah. Once you get your systems down, that helps a lot. Husbandry Pro helps out tremendously with it. But yeah, definitely. Like first show, I want everything set up the weekend before. Like I actually got whooped out an 8-foot table and put my displays on the table, set up my lights, like stage your setup before your first show. And you'll be, oh man, I don't have this. Oh man, I don't have that. And then think, all right, now what am I going to do to sell a snake? Okay, I need this, this, and this. And that's where you start creating your mental checklist or something, and just be like, okay, I've got this stuff, and make sure that you have everything. So when you do it, it's ready. And, especially like your first show or two, like I would recommend even if you're not going to come in on Friday, maybe that first show, go ahead and take some PTO, do what you got to do to get in there Friday, to get everything set up, to have a little bit of extra time. Yeah. And then you can come in Saturday morning and still have time to tweak it and mess with it and get finalized. Cause you don't want to be sitting there feeling unprepared whenever the doors open and customers are walking up to your table and you realize you still haven't cleaned the poop and you still haven't labeled this or that. And, it's a frantic feeling.
Can we go circle back around? You were talking about the labeler you use. Now, you told us before that you can just reuse the tags on or whatever, like that comes off easy. What was that printer?
So Most printers have something like that. What you're specifically looking for is a label that says removable adhesive. If you're using a house printer, that's going to be your Avery labels. Avery has removable labels. Brothers is what I use most, is a Brothers thermal printer, but Dymo has them also. If you use Dymo, all of your main brand types of printers are going to have removable adhesive. They can be a little hard to find sometimes in certain select sizes, but most of your basic sizes that you would expect to use on a display, you can find. Like, I can't find a removable one for the Dymo that's the file folder one that's long and skinny. That's the only one I can't find that I want in the removable. But so that's the only downside, is like I pretty much, for the home printer, for the Avery, you can find almost any size you want in the removable adhesive, but you got to start getting a little picky on some of the thermals, because, like, they might make it, but you can't find anybody who carries it in the removable adhesive. That's the problem on that. But yeah, they've got some very basic sizes that, they keep in stock that you can usually get, though. And it's so easy because it peels right off of the display. I actually send it with the customers because I have a separate sales log. So I don't need anything left on the display when the animal's gone to know that I sold that animal, because I've already recorded it. So I'm able to peel that sticker off, stick it on my business card I'm giving them, and I tell them, hey, stick that label on the bottom of your enclosure when you get home so you'll never lose it. And you can always scan that QR code. And, 2 years from now, they'll go to sell that animal and not remember what they got. And they can scan it, give it to the next person. They can send me a message from that QR code. So that's why I like having that nice removable stuff. And I just have the same label on the tub that I have on the display. And so it's just matching labels. When I put snakes back, it's all real fast.
Yeah, things that people don't think about, like, you're not going to be able to, most of the times you're not going to be able to leave, like, for too long. So don't think that you're going to be, oh, I'm going to have lunch. Pack some stuff, pack easy snacks, like, that you can grab, and like a sandwich that you can take a bite. Don't think that you're going to have a full-on meal. Sometimes you have a friend that is picking up some food or pizza or whatever, and they're going to grab something for you. Sometimes, like, when it's like summer, bring like a little cooler with like some drinks, like, that you can hydrate and stuff like that. But be prepared.
Be ready to eat lunch before it's time to eat lunch if you're a late eater, because you're going to be wanting to eat lunch, and you're going to get your food and it's going to be cold by the time you eat it, because right about, noon, 1 o'clock, if that's around the time you normally eat, that's the busiest damn time of the show. And if you're even trying to eat, you're losing sales.
Yep. So stuff that you can take a bite, that's probably going to be better than have like noodles, for example, like a sandwich or anything, or like some nuts or whatever, just like to sustain. And then you're probably going to have a nice dinner with your friends. And that's another good part, because Travis was asking what's good and why we would do shows and continue to do shows.
Yeah.
To me, one of the best things is to see your friends that you don't see most of the time of the year, or meet people that you only met online. Like you and Holly, I only met you guys online. I love you guys, but like, you have that connection, like when you see someone in person, and then you can see them again, and then you can share experiences.
And all the people I've met who don't own ball pythons by going to the shows, like half the time I go to dinner, I don't go to dinner with anybody else who even has ball pythons. I know ball pythons. I'm going to go to dinner with somebody who's got some crocodiles. So, talk to me about your crocodile farm. Can I come hang out with you? Let's go do some crocodile farm shit.
Yep.
Meet some really cool people at the expos, man. And you get to do it's a way different experience than being on the other side of the table where, because then you're an outsider. It doesn't matter if you breed. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're not a vendor and they don't see you vending at shows, you're an outsider when you're on the other side of the table. And no, you can't pet my baby monkey. But when you vend next to that person, they're like, all right, come on. Don't let nobody see you, though. Everybody wants to pet the monkey. Come on, here. You can hold it. And that's how you get to hold the little baby monkey. Is by being in the crowd and vending the
Travis said, hell no.
If I vend and I get set up next to somebody with a damn monkey, I'm asking to relocate if it's possible.
But Zach, did the guy told you like not to spank the monkey, just be gentle? Like
I'm with Travis. If you come and you're set up next to the person with the monkey, hope and pray on the mercy of your show promoter, and that you got there early enough on Friday before other people got there to where they can go fuck somebody else into having that spot, because people are going to walk up to your table all day and be like, oh, look at the monkey. And they're gone. They are gone. You do not want to be by the petting zoo. You
Or
don't want to be
vending
my
next
cute
to
bunny
take
rabbits or any kind of like holding, or if there's somebody doing photo ops in the booth next to you with a big freaking big Burmese python, you don't want to be next to that. You know, like oh man.
Well,
Oh, man.
you don't want to be next to those people anyway. Like
You don't want to be by any of your friends either. I'll tell you that. Like everybody's, I want to be my friend. No, you don't. No, you don't. Put my friend has the same shit that I've got. Put him on the opposite side of the show from me. I can talk to him after the show.
It's funny. Yeah, but that to me at least, like since I have a day job, even the aftermath, like because I have to catch up on the husbandry, right? Like I don't have the day, so I have to do it at night.
Right.
So you have the rodents, and you have that's all that you have to take into consideration if you have like a second or your first job, is that it's a lot. I just Sunday caught up on all my racks. Like I did all the water and everything, but do the whole cleaning and the whole like swapping of the substrate. I only finished on Sunday, and I did not stop.
So how much time did you put into catching up after the show, Rafi?
Probably like 2 weeks to catch up, right? I kept doing things, but to really catch up and be on schedule, because I have a number of racks, like I do in this room, and then Monday I do this, Tuesday I do that, and then the rodents and this and
Right.
that. So to be on schedule and traveling, because that was not only the show, but I had to travel for a week for work. So that put me behind as well. So it is a lot. Like once you have like down to a T, like Zach has it, like he has all his processes, and then he can come back and do the animals during the day, like clean the animals and stuff like that. It makes it easier, but it's not easy.
It really does. It does. You know, when I first started doing this, I still had my square job and everything where I worked Monday through Friday. And it was so different, you know, having to come back, unpack all your snakes. I mean, there were several times where if I was driving away to a show far off, like the standard, you know, SOP is my snakes don't get unloaded on Sunday. You walk in the door, the displays get set in the door on the, you know, freaking right in the door on the floor in the reptile building. We go to work, and then Monday when we come home from work, they get put up. You know, because you just have to make accommodations for that stuff.
Oh, I did the next day, because I put them in the reptile room that was warm, like in the quarantine area, and then they stayed there until next day in the morning, and that's why
you're warm. We'll take care of it later. You know, and you got extra poop and pee to clean out of there and stuff, but that's what you got to do whenever you're working a square job, to do that stuff, you know, or, you know, plan for it, you know, like plan to have someone there at home ready to help you unload them whenever you get there, you know, have a wife or a friend.
And you might mix up things too, because like you're tired, and then you start like putting snakes away, and then you kind of like what I do with mine. I have the rack, and I already like I have the quarantine rack, and I already like leave the tubs open where they're gonna be for their quarantine.
Right back in the hole.
So at least I know the spots when I'm coming back, like okay, and then I look at the labels, and I do the same thing as you. The other thing that I do different is the pricing. Like I don't have the pricing on my racks, but the label is the same that I put on the show. I use the red labels for the females, the blue labels for the males.
Well, I mean, technically, the ones I have on the rack, it's slightly different. It's the exact same tag, except where the price goes, it has their birthday. But yeah.
So, question here on the shows, outside of connecting with your friends, what would motivate Holly and I to vend shows?
All right. So,
like,
now that
we're
trying to tell you bad stuff and talk you out of it, let me tell you what's good about it. And man, I sold like 9 snakes online last year out of over 300 something animals I sold, and I hated every one of it. You know, nothing specific about the customers or anything. It's just, it's a break of procedure. You know, I have to stop what I'm doing. And now, especially whenever I worked a regular square job, because, you know, maybe you live close to a FedEx hub, hopefully with all the FedEx hub closings, you know, that's less and less likely. You know, I lived 45 minutes from a FedEx hub. So if someone ordered a snake from me online and they're like, well, I can only receive it on Wednesday. Well, Tuesday was my feeding day. My whole feeding day is shot now because I have to stop, get this ready. Stopping and getting a package ready, it takes me a couple of hours to get that ready outside of the normal procedure. If that's not something you're doing on a daily basis, if you're not selling tons of snakes online, it's a couple hour process, to get everything out, get it ready, get your heat packs warmed up, check the weather, communicate back and forth. It's a lot of work. And when you evaluate how much time is spent to sell that animal, if you multiply that, you will spend way less time per animal at a show, and you can plan for it and get all of the sales out of the way in one small window. It's like, I've allotted this time, I've done this. And it's like, people ask me all the time, is your online listings updated? No, they're not, because I don't want to sell nothing on there because I'm busy. I've got so much stuff going on with the snakes, with feeding them, cleaning them, especially during hatchling season. It's like, I do not have time to miss a quarter day of the stuff that I've got going on to break procedures and protocols to, do 2 hours of getting it ready and then a 2-hour round trip of going to FedEx and dropping it off. It's like, that's a chunk of my day when I can just allot one weekend once or twice a month. And then the rest of the time, it's just regular, like flow clockwork. You just go in, you do your regular stuff and you don't mess with it. And, and online, your only way of competing is a better picture or a better price. So it's really a race to the bottom. In person, it's you.
Yeah.
You can connect.
Well, that's the other side too, Zach. Like being the devil's advocate. Online, let's say reptile ads, morph market. You're more of an introvert. Like you don't like talking to people, but you have an amazing animals. When you put them online, and some people you it's the opposite. Like I sold snakes online with the buy it now, that the person just sent me the money. I exchanged probably 3 words, but that was the person, that was not me. So like that's comfort for them. Like, I just want this animal, I don't want to talk to anybody. And I had like a few of those. And then you have the options, right? Because when you go to a show as a customer, it's not certain that you're going to find what you're looking for, right? Then because you get into reptile ads and you type, I want a monsoon exantic DG. Like, let's see how many of those are in there. And then you have the option. Like, the good thing to me about a show is the relationship. It's not so much about the sales. Of course, you want to sell snakes, but like being known, like people who come to me, to my table, and say, "Oh my man, you always like screw up those videos." Like it's fun to see that people are like watching you and they're following you and they like your animals. Oh, I like that animal, like that specific video. You have that animal that is like so cool, and like one day I want to produce that. That's fulfilling. On the show side, the first snake that I sold to a kid, I shed a tear, to be honest. Because that kid said that was my dream. Like, this animal was my dream. So that is that part too. I like both, to be honest, but they have pros and cons. Like, if you don't like to talk to people, I think online is a really good outlet too.
It's a rough place in an oversaturated market, though, is the only problem. Is like you end up where you're, and it's a subjective thing whenever you talk about shows too, because whenever I talk about shows, I'm talking about shows in Texas. And if I'm talking to somebody in Florida, they're going to look at me like I'm just plumb an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, because a Florida show is absolutely nothing like a Texas show. You can go to a Florida show and grab animals off the table and, without haggling at all, and quadruple the price and come to a Texas show, and you'll probably be in line with the rest of the market, because they have, like you can't throw a rock without hitting a big breeder. And so you have people selling, what online might even be like $300, $400 snakes for $50, $100 just because they can't feed it. And then you go to a show in Texas, and a leucistic might be $100 or $150 on Morph Market, and they're still $275 on the table, because that's a lot of us here in Texas look at that like that's wholesale. Online is wholesale prices. That's where you have to go to wholesale stuff if you can't sell stuff at retail prices at the expos. And a lot of people get hung up like you are doing yourself the worst disservice in the world if you're going to your first expos and you're selling pet level snakes and you're pricing them off of Morph Market, because those are people who don't have any other option anywhere else to sell. And you are going to reach 90% more entry pet level customers at a reptile expo than you'll reach online, because an exuberant amount of beginners and first time, even up to fifth time snake owners do not feel comfortable buying something online yet. And so, you're missing out on that huge chunk of sales. And, those people don't know what's on Morph Market. And it's not like you're screwing these people or anything. It's more like Morph Market has gone to be where this is wholesale. They don't have anywhere else to sell this stuff. They don't have near as much overhead. They didn't have to pay to go to a show. They didn't have to pay for a hotel. They're not having to pay for banners and tablecloths and stuff like that. And from talking to pet customers, they absolutely understand that. And they absolutely, when they walk up somewhere and they see a booth like mine, they are comfortable with paying a little bit more money for an animal because they understand what they're paying for. There's customers who don't do that. And those are typically like your auction shoppers, your very low end shoppers where they're buying it. They'll buy it on Craigslist or they'll buy it from you if it costs $5 more, regardless of what quality example looks like. And those aren't the people who are, making the better, nicer qualities for the hobby and stuff. And there's always a breeder for each type of shopper that they're looking for. There's people who will not buy an animal out of a display, and there's people who will not buy an animal out of a deli cup. And you just got to decide what kind of breeder you want to be, what kind of reputation you want to have, and what type of customers you want to attract. And if you want to move $50 to $75 animals all day long, flip them in deli cups, not have to provide a lot of customer service to people, expect them to grab and go, deli cups might be your way. If you're trying to move investment animals or, high quality pets to a high quality pet home where that they're going to get the best care from people who are going to sit there and talk to you more about it, they're going to invest more in your stuff if you invest more in your stuff. If you invest in yourself, they'll invest in you too.
Sure. So this last show, Zach, did you break even, come out ahead, or were you in the hole?
I always come out ahead.
Always ahead?
I've not broke even on 4 shows ever, and that's in my entire life, regardless of whatever show I was vending. The ones where I didn't were reptile shows. And I've only ever not sold something at an expo 3 times ever. And all 3 of those were reptile expos. And only one of those did I ever go back to. Like if I go to a show and it's like that, where you don't sell anything, it's a bad show. Don't come back, unless, like I've given some outsides, like I went to a show one time and it was horrible. It downpoured cats and dogs all day, Saturday and Sunday. And I mean, you're talking like raining sideways. I went back the next time and it was great. If there's a realistic reason, not an excuse that the show promoter is giving you, a realistic reason that show sucks, I'll give it a second attempt. But if the sun's shining, it's a nice day, I go there, I don't make any money, the show promoter did something wrong. They either allowed too much competition in the room, didn't bring enough people through the door, they did something that was a disservice to their vendors. If you can go to a reptile expo and not sell a single animal all day long, or you need to look internally and you're doing something horribly wrong. But if you're doing right stuff and you're not making money, don't do that show. There's better shows out there. Don't cling on to a shitty show so you can dump stuff.
One thing that is going to happen to you eventually, they're going to put you in a bad spot, location wise in the show. And don't expect that the first time that you vend,
bitch about it
in the center, and you're going to be like in full, they're going to put like shining lights on you, and you're going to be, you have to make it look pretty with what's delivered to you. Like make it look nice.
Do the best with what you've got. Be extremely nice to your show promoter. Be very polite, and that's where showing up to set up on Friday pays dividends, because a lot of times they're just picking random names, and if they don't know you, you're the new guy on the block, you just got stuck in some random spot. It's nothing against you. But if you show up Friday and there's only 2 other people set up, and you walk up to the show promoter and you introduce yourself and you're being very nice, polite, respectful, you ask them about your spot, they show you where it's at and it's a little rough, and you very politely ask like, oh man, does there happen to be anyone else I could maybe switch with? Is there any way I could, get somewhere else? And they'll either, you'll figure out real quick, read the situation. They're either like, no, they're done with it. They're not dealing with it. Like, oh, no problem. Oh, I'm happy to be here. Be nice, be polite, walk past and talk to them every single time you get up to go to the bathroom. Make sure you swing past there. Make sure you nod your head so that show promoter remembers you next time. Be like, oh, you know what? I did give them a bad spot last time, but they had such a good attitude about it. I'm going to make sure I give them a good spot this time.
And don't be pricing animals like 5 minutes before the show opens too. When the show like is about to open, be ready. Like just like be like wiping your hands, like talking to people because their display is ready and everything's fine.
Be confident in your pricing. Man, people will talk about you if you're walking around, just hawking everybody else's price and then going over there and just frantically changing your prices based off of. Don't panic price. Be confident in your pricing, stand behind it, understand why yours is priced the way it's priced. I can't tell you, I've sat right across from somebody who had 10 freaking $10 normal ball pythons, and I had 4 $40 normal ball pythons, and I sold all 4 of my $40 normal ball pythons, and he sold none of his. It's not the price that's selling these animals. It's you.
Because they're sometimes they don't even look at that display, because sometimes you are the first one that they reach to, and they're nice, and you're nice to them. You're gonna sell because you're selling a service too. It's not just the animal.
Thanks for showing up, folks. The chat's starting to heat up a little bit.
Sorry, Tara.
I was like, nobody loves us. Nobody's even watching us. We're just talking to each other.
Tara found us. That's awesome.
I was over here like,
this is the best comment so far. I agree with you, 666.
That's why I strategically position the camera from I try to get it from here up. Like, I'm skinny.
I'm getting her snake. I'm getting her snake shipped tomorrow. No worries. I have it ready. Everything, like the box ready. Triple six serpents.
What are you sending me?
No, it's 666 serpents.
Fuck that guy. What are you sending me?
I don't know. No, it's just a Bosa auction.
Man, Tara's got some fire over there. I'll tell you what, I want to go to her place and just look at her snakes. And if she would let me pick out a few of them, I would be really grateful.
Who?
Tara, Voodoo.
Oh.
Yeah, she has some cool stuff.
The Hoodoo?
Yeah, Third Coast Exotics. I've got it set up to share on Instagram, but I can't tell if it's actually doing anything or not. It's hard to say, especially because I'm new at StreamYard.
Yeah, I never did do the whole Instagram. I tried it, and you have to go back and forth to get it started, and it's just a pain.
Yeah, they give you a streaming key and you get it all set up. It was real smooth, and I've got it set up here. I've got a green check mark, and I went and checked my channel, and there's nothing there. So who knows?
It's easy for me to get it set up to where it'll live on Facebook, but Instagram always gave me fits.
And I like doing it on Facebook, but whenever you go to do the description of the video, you're only allowed to put 5 links in your description. And I always like to put all the guests' links on there and everything. It just never did work out for me there either.
Right on. Yeah, so we got no one on YouTube. Well, we got 3 YouTube channels set up here, so people have some options. So if you're not seeing all the comments, it's probably because they got posted on one of the other YouTube channels that you're not tuned in on. So that's probably why.
What YouTube channel are we on? We're on the Cold Blooded After Dark channel, right?
Cold Blooded, Python Susie, Boyd's R Us. So we're blasting it out there everywhere.
Do you want it to? We can put yours on here too, just to have plenty more.
Stream it everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, I have a lot of views from on my channel, like the catching up crew and watching later. So it's cool that we can reach out to people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or the same way multiple times on YouTube.
I set up a YouTube channel. I don't even think you can actually go follow the Parks Pristine Pythons YouTube channel. I did set up the Reptile Ads one where you can go follow that one, but there's never been a video posted or anything. I think I've got a handful of followers on there already. I'm like, how do I get followers? I never even posted a video or anything on there. I know Husbandry Pro, we've got a few. I think we got 500 followers on Husbandry Pro or something from that little stint when we were doing the podcasts.
I had another show question for you, Zach. What do you do for mites to prevent when you're going to a show? I've seen people get the rid or whatever it's called and spray it around the table at the bottom and stuff like that. Is there something particular you do?
Okay. So I don't use the Rid-X or anything like that, and I definitely am not biggest. I used to do it until you get the unfortunate incident of being set up next to somebody who's selling bugs, and you have to have an uncomfortable conversation with them because you were over there spraying pesticides, and now some of their bugs are starting to die around you. So watch out for that ahead of time. It'll save you a really uncomfortable freaking phone call. I can tell you that one from firsthand experience. Treat the tablecloths and stuff ahead of time. So I treat my stuff. I use it's called Fipronil is the ingredient name. I buy it online. It's an industrial termiticide. It's the active ingredient that they used to have in frontline flea and tick for cats and dogs. If y'all remember that, well, they pulled the frontline off the shelf because it can leach heavy metals in through the sweat pores in mammals, but snakes don't have that, so it's safe for them still. And you basically just order it from a lawn and garden store or any kind of pesticide store. It's called Fipronil. Taurus SC is the brand that I use and I like.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I mix that stuff up. And so I mix up a little squirt bottle of that and I spray on my tablecloths and everything after I wash them. Or now a lot of times once I'm in the rinse cycle, I'll just throw a cap full in the rinse cycle when I'm washing them, and it'll leave them on there. And that's kind of the lazy way to do it. And then whenever I redo my displays with my Alpha Dry, which is the white little paper pebbly stuff that you see some people use, I use a big lawn and leaf, I think it's like a 30-gallon trash bag. And I put enough in there for my displays. And I've got an aerosol sprayer that I ordered for like a beauty salon, one that would do the super turbo fine mist. And I put that in there and I spray the crap out of that all in that bag. And then I just roll it real quick like a balloon where you get it all full of air, and I shake it all around in there. So I've got this stuff on my tablecloths. It's on the bedding that they're in there laying on. And then I actually treat the animals after a show. If my shows are spaced out more than 2 weeks, I'll treat them after the first show. If I have back-to-back shows, I'll run, I'll finish my circuit. And then when I get home on Sunday from the last show, I pull all the water bowls out and I actually make up a fresh batch, put it on a rag, and I wipe each snake down as they go into the rack through it. The Fipronil specifically, unlike the permethrin and stuff, that stuff pretty much kills on contact and it leaves a residue that's pretty well gone after about 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. The Fipronil will stay until you wash it or wipe it off. If you spray it on something and a mite crawls across it a month from now, it's going to die. And it's just hands down the best product I've found. Shout out to Bob Vu on that one. He turned me on to that one several years ago. And that's what, as from the last time I talked to him, that's what he's still using. And it has just been a godsend. I've only ever had to deal with it a couple times, but if you do enough shows, you will end up having to deal with it at some point in time. Make sure you keep baby animals separate, bay area separate from your adults. If you do take adults that are going to go into that separate area, I do treat those every time because they go back into the adult room. And that's why I really, really don't let people hold adults unless they're going to buy them. Let me see. So that usually keeps you pretty well protected. I've only ever had it happen twice. Both times I pretty much know how it happened. It was, one person I remember holding this snake who was holding snakes at this other table. It was one of those situations every time. But the Fipronil keeps it contained. Monthly I go through and do a little spot clean on my racks. And I actually have that on the rag and I wipe the racks down with it. So if you do get it and you bring it home from a show with you, if they come out of that tub from that animal you had, they die. And so it helps keep it contained. I do treat the whole area just in case, but it'll definitely stop an outbreak from becoming, a massive outbreak.
Yeah. And going back to mites, just going into mites, mites are not as big of a deal that people make. It's a pain in the butt to get rid of them, because you have the whole egg cycle and all. But to the snakes, if it happened to you eventually, you can treat the snake most of the time. If you don't have months worth of infection on your snake that those mites are reproducing, and your snake is full of mites, it's not that big of a deal. That it's hard to, if you've never done if you never manage it, it's hard thing to get, because
And if you look at the old school methods of how to get rid of them, if you get them in your collection, man, them old school methods will have you wanting to sell your whole collection, because they'll have you emptying every single tub in the whole room, cleaning every single tub every 3 days, cleaning every snake. I mean, it'll be 8+ hours of work every 3 days is what they'll, people will have you thinking you got to do. But Fipronil is a godsend.
Yeah, what I do to prevent even having disposable gloves, if I really see that they want to buy it and they're potential buyers, disposable gloves, put them on, and I throw it away. After I ask them to throw away, I don't even touch the gloves, because then some people, they fake that they're gonna buy it too. Oh, what do you think? Oh, and then they go to the next booth and they do the same thing. So I don't understand humans. I would never ask to hold anything that I'm not gonna buy it. Literally, I don't. Why would you fake that you're gonna buy something just to hold the snake? What's your purpose? I was
just to hold the snake. That's the purpose. So that was one thing I was going to ask about is
buy a snake and you can hold it every day. You don't have to be going and spreading diseases to other people's snakes, because as much as the promoters try to bring only good people, you always gonna have that booth, and you don't know what they're doing. If they're allowing people to touch their animals, and I've seen horrors. I've seen snakes with their mouth opening, with our eye trying to breathe.
Yeah.
They were trying to hide, was a colubrid. I don't even remember what it was. And then you have the wild caught tables, and then you don't know how fresh those animals were imported, when, if they treat at all, or if they just have a quota. Oh, I import 100. If 30 die, I'm still making money. And a lot of people will do that, on the importing side, and you have to be careful on people handling your animals and not buying them. So, to me, disposable gloves was the cheap plastic disposable glove. Put them on. They're kind of universal size, and that's it.
Yeah. And if you see something like that going on at an expo, it does zero good to say anything about it after the expo is over. If you want something done about it, do not fucking go say a single word to anyone unless you want to be blackballed in the community. You better get your friend, who they don't know is your friend, to come up there and say something during the expo. That is the only way you're going to do something about it. And I hate to tell people if you see something not to say something, but I think we've got a very good example going along in the community right now that you can see. And I've seen something and said something, and I've had firsthand experience. Most of these show promoters would absolutely rather cancel you than kick out their buddy who's been vending the show for 10 years.
Wasn't it?
I don't give a shit if they tell you, if you see anything, come say something to me. They are lying. Do not get someone else to do it. Get someone else who's not vending and not going to get kicked out of the show, because you're likely to not get invited back because you said something. Because unfortunately, as much as it shouldn't be the truth, I will sit here and tell you, good old boy happens at every show promotion I have been to in America to some extent. And I've never seen it turn up good. The only time I've ever seen it turn out well is when a show promoter's found it himself, or when a customer brought it to him during the show and made us think about it, because then they have no choice but to deal with it. And that's when they'll deal with it.
Was it, where was the show that the guy was just shaking the deli cups with the dead geckos? Was recent, and
shit, I'm trying to vend that show. I don't know what show you're talking about. That never happened.
That never happened.
It was definitely not in California.
The guy tossed live
a year ago.
That was.
some all white displays. Couldn't see anything else.
I mean, that.
What do you mean by that?
I think the caller probably that's one of the things that I try to do too is kind of make the animals stand out instead of the displays. I've seen the color displays. I didn't like them. I thought of getting orange because of like my logo and stuff. Like the orange sides.
Oh,
The
I know.
acrylic.
Like all my stuff's orange, and it's like, no, not on the displays.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I want the animals to stand out, right? So like that's why I got the clear ones.
Yeah, we saw that one too, where they were throwing away the live animals.
It's like, why don't you work with other stuff? Like, why do you have to work with animals? Like, if you don't care, like, I know it's all about money for them, but work with something else. Like, get a flea market and sell like stuff from China.
But I was talking
No
to
car parts or something.
a respected older breeder in the hobby who doesn't even breed anymore, he just flips stuff. But he still gets on all the shows. He's still a respected breeder is what they call him. And so I'm talking to him about this other breeder who's got all this, he's one of those tables, he's sitting there pulling dead animals off every morning. He has to do dead pulls from his table. It's a wild caught table, not a good wild caught table. And he's over there like getting snakes from him and stuff. And I'm like, bro, why would you support that? And he's like, oh, he's a great guy, man. He's got really, really nice XYZ animals. And I was like, what about all these shitty animals on the table? Oh, that's what he uses to pay for his really nice XYZ animals. It's like, well, it doesn't matter if you're selling shitty animals and neglecting these animals, but you have these other animals that you care about. These animals, like these aren't worth being taken care of. Like
Some animals are more equal than others.
Yeah, it's just like not taking care of your adopted kids because you like your own kids better. It's just like what like I don't understand humans. Sorry. Like I try it sometimes. It's just people should try to be nice. That's all. Like
I thought about importing because like I was pretty much against the importing stuff, but like you got to have imports. So it's like it's hard to be in the reptile hobby and be against imports because this all came from imports. Unless you only keep stuff native to America, you've supported imports in some way, shape, or form. It's not like, well, maybe I could do it because I seen like Josh Alder, he's a good one, and a few other ones who, do good quarantine, good establishment on their stuff, on their wild caught, and who are doing it right. And they're just few and far between. But God, so many animals coming, like I started seeing what comes in from the importers. Like 25% is just dead when you get it. And I'm like, this is not for me. I'm a softie. Like there is the good importers. It's expensive to be a good importer because like half these animals come in sick. A quarter of them come in already dead.
A lot of the good importers, they have their own facilities in the country of origin. So they deworm the animals, they do quarantine first and see like how they look before they ship like the good ones. Or they have partnership with like farms that will bring the wild caught, and then they would either lay or they're gonna give live birth, and then the farm hatch or the farm born. That's when you have less likelihood. Instead of getting a wild caught, they get the parents. They either keep them and they made them breeders, or they just release them into the wild after they give birth or lay eggs. But if you think about it, even like the native species, wild caught, still like it's not an import, but it came from nature, right? Like we can be hypocrites saying, "Oh, I only do captive born." One animal had to come from the wild, so you have your captive born.
Started somewhere.
So I'm not a hypocrite. I just think it's too risky with imported animals. You can import an animal from Europe or Canada, or like when I'm talking about imported animals that were wild caught.
Right.
Look at what happened with Adam from Wicked Wiccans.
Well, what happened with that? I'm not familiar with that story.
He bought like, I don't know if it was like 6 or 7 green tree pythons imported, and they all had Nido.
Ooh.
Yeah, it runs rampant in Morelia.
You're bringing these animals into your collection, and all the animals died, and the ones that didn't die, they had to put them down.
Oh, that was it went through his whole collection. He had to put everything down.
No. He didn't keep with his animals, but like people don't think of stuff like that. They think it's fine, and then they'll bring to their collection. That's why.
Oh yeah, you see it all the time. And they're like, they were at the reptile expo, so I thought it was safe. You know, like people don't know about wild caught. Like if you're not in the hobby, you do not. Even after my first reptile expo, I still didn't know shit about a wild caught table. I'm like, what's a wild caught table? What do you mean wild caught? There's wild caught stuff here? I thought everybody just breeds all this stuff.
If you're buying the baby Savannah monitor, it's probably an import. Like not all of them, but like if you're buying a $25 Savannah monitor, that thing was not captive hatched. Like I can guarantee you that. And I've seen plenty of those like pre-COVID, like $25 Savannah monitor, like baby. Like that thing is not captive. Like nobody's gonna be like raising a whole Savannah monitor to sell like babies for $25. And by the way, guys, don't buy those. Like if you don't know anything about a Savannah monitor or a sulcata tortoise, don't buy them. Like they're great animals for very few people. Let's put it this way. They're basically tanks. They're like self-driving.
I liked my Savannah monitor.
Yeah, but look at how big of a space you have. Like people think that they're gonna be this big and they're gonna be in a 10-gallon tank.
Hey, I tell you what, I'd rather 50 people go out and buy a Savannah monitor than a green iguana.
Oh, that one too.
Yeah.
People think they're
I saw somebody buying one last week and they're like, I'm like, what'd you end up deciding on? And they're like, green iguana. And I'm like, no. Who the fuck told? This was their first reptile ever. I'm like, who the fuck sold you this?
That was actually my first lizard that I had was a green iguana. And I remember when that thing grew, like I got like a whip in the back. Like I was like shirtless and like carrying, like was like a big male. And I was like carrying him and he just like whacked me on the back. And like I had like this like really thin like blood like mark like on my back. Like those husbandry is horrible. They need a lot of humidity. They need a lot of fresh like fruits, vegetables, and then no, it's not a good pet. I agree with you. Like, and sulcatas are not either. They're gonna destroy your house.
God no, they're little tanks.
Oh.
And they can be little angry, destructive tanks too.
And I don't like when people leave sulcatas in shows too, talking about shows like and just put like a freaking sign on their shell, like asking for tips.
The tip cup on the sulcata.
Fuck me, dude. No, please. No.
No,
I'm not
that's
saying
the
nothing. I know the people who do that here around.
Oh no.
That's bad.
Oh, I mean, you know, hey, teach their own. You know, like I'm not a fan of it.
Let me do the bad talking. I don't care. Like,
Well, I appreciate Zach talking to me. So I got my next levels in, and I still hadn't been able to get into a show yet. But but
Well, and that's one of the things I wanted to make sure and touch on is know if you're going to be vending and sign up now. Do not wait until you have babies. Sign up a year ahead of time. It takes a long time to get into the good shows. Any show you can get into next weekend that you just decided to show, that's the shows that you don't want to be in. That's the shows, you know, you have to get in because it's the show you can get in. But you know, it's better to go ahead and sign up. Almost all of them have an easy, especially all your smaller local shows. You can usually get out of them, cancel them a few months ahead of time. You know, if you see you're not going to have babies on the horizon, just cancel them before, you know, don't cancel them last minute on your show promoters. They'll hate you. But, you know, cancel them two to 3 months ahead of time. You're going to know. But if it's coming up and it's next year and you're breeding stuff right now, you better be already signed up.
yeah.
and they like promoters like consistency too. Like they don't want you to like come on this show or I just want to go into the summer show. They're gonna say like screw you then, like because like I have 2 or I have 4 shows a year. Like if you want to have a good spot and you want to have a guaranteed spot, you have to be at every show. So
a good one is go to their show, talk to the show promoter. You know, go late in the day before they close on Saturday, or early in the morning Sunday, or right before they close on Sunday. And, you know, that's when the show promoter's not going to be busy, and just talk to them. Even if you already know what you're supposed to do and people already told you, go talk to them anyways and be like, hey, I just wanted to meet you, and make sure I'm doing everything right to get in here. I really want to be here, and that'll make them stick out in your head and stuff because, whenever they're calling somebody last minute, that's who sticks out in their head. And I can't tell you how many shows I've got in and been able to stay in because I'm like, hey, I know it's Wednesday, but if anybody cancels on you last minute, I'm 45 minutes down the road. I've got the inventory and I'll be there in a moment's notice. And they're like, you know what? Somebody just canceled on me. Actually, I'm glad you reached out to me. Can you be here Friday for setup? And I'm like, sure can.
Mm-hmm.
And go the extra mile too. Like if you set up your display and your table and everything, ask if do you need any help with anything? Every little bit matters if you're not known.
You don't get favors if you show up for the show and then you turn around and you leave and you don't talk to anybody. You're the first one to get screwed on a table. You're the one who's always getting overlooked for this or that, or we forgot that you signed up. Try to make friends. If with nobody else, at least the show promoter.
All right.
And go out with people for dinner too. Like even if you're an introvert, like try to make friends with people if you're not well known. Like during the show, talk to people and try to go to the dinners because that's where you make connections. Like people, that's
where you get really good deals on animals too. You want to get deals on animals? That's the kind of deal I want. I want a deal from the guy who does not give cheap deals to everybody. But if you're a good buddy of mine, you know what? I'll hook you up. That's the people to buy your animals from.
That's called the buddy price.
Yes. I love the buddy price. As soon as I go to a new show, if I haven't been there, I go straight to the show promoter when I'm checking in. Be like, oh, okay. Is there a dinner tonight or tomorrow? Y'all doing anything? Is there an auction? No. You know about anything going on? No. All right. Now I'm going to ask whenever I'm setting up. Ask the vendors around me. What's going on? Anybody going to do anything for dinner tonight? Somebody will invite you to something.
And guys, don't be an ass. Be ready to give the buddy discount too. Don't just ask for buddy discounts. Give them too. Like if you have like good friends, or sometimes give an animal, like whatever. Like it's to me it's partnership. To be honest.
Vendor discounts pretty much understood in the vendor show. It's all like, hey, you got a vendor price on that? And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll do this. And vendor price, you never know. I mean, sometimes that's good. It's like, hey, this weekend really sucked ass for everybody. That vendor price might be a little better.
You're right.
Good points. Well, guys, we're at an hour and 22 minutes. We could probably go, especially with Zach and Doc, we could go another 2 hours if we let it. I know I'd be in trouble. So I think we'll wrap it up for the evening. A good conversation. I learned a lot. I'm sure Holly did too.
Yes.
So that said, want to say thanks to our sponsors. So Reptile Ads, created by this crazy dude sitting here in the corner. Zach, there we go. Go check it out. It's got a lot of cool things going on. The app is still in development. It's looking great.
Adam's app's just waiting final approval now. We're done testing with it and everything. It's out of testing. It's got approval. We're just waiting on final approval from the security stuff, making sure nobody can hack it and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have a launch date on it either maybe this week, next week at the latest. We'll have a launch date on that.
Yeah, so that app is really fast and really sharp. I really like it. Very impressed with it.
It's a good time to get on there. Go ahead, Doc.
Reptile ads question. If I sold animals outside of Morph Market or Reptile Ads or anything, and I want to update my list, if I pull what I have from Morph Market, the sold listings too, is it better to delete everything from Reptile Ads and do an auto export? Or if I do an export, is it gonna see that I have those as sold and is gonna...
Currently, if you've got a bunch of sold listings, the fastest thing to do would just be go to your ads in Reptile Ads, select all, delete all, and then just import your new import. If you're just doing changes and you sold one or two, you just import your file over it and it'll update your files and then go mark the one or two sold. But if you've sold a bunch and stuff, it's the fastest way to do it. Same thing for Husbandry Pro. If you're importing through there right now, we're working actively on a import and archive feature where you'll have the option to either import and it'll import and update your stuff, or you'll be able to import and archive. And then basically the way that'll work is it'll import, and anything that's not on that spreadsheet or the pullover from Husbandry Pro will automatically be archived, and only the new animals. And so we're working on something like that that'll, take that little bit of extra step out of it for you.
Nice.
That's good.
All right. Next, we've got Holly. She's our lady behind the scenes, helping us out with the podcast. She's been great. Check her out, Tex Home Exotics. She's on Instagram, and you're on TikTok too, right?
I'm on everything.
TikTok?
I TikTok. I do everything, dude.
She's all over the place. Go check her out. You're local to her in Oklahoma. She's got rats for sale too.
Oh, Zach,
All right,
speaking of, I got more rats for you.
Ooh.
Say that again, Holly.
I got some more rats for Zach too.
Good. Yes. I just picked up some rabbits today. I'm real excited to feed some rabbits next week. I've never fed rabbits before.
I want to go watch.
Well, I'm hoping it works better than the pigs. I got some pigs a couple months ago from DNT Retics. Because, I've got a couple, really big girls, the 8.5, 9 footers, they can eat a small baby pig, but only one of them would touch it at all. And she's like just ravenous. And I'm like, oh yeah, she's going to devour this. She tried eating that thing head first, butt first. She even folded it in half like a taco. That's how I know she could get it down. But as soon as that hoof touches her mouth every time, she's, and that's the face she makes too. She just like stops for a second. Like you just opened the door and caught her doing something she wasn't supposed to do. She just freezes. And then she's like, I think I'm going to throw up. This is just disgusting, but back out. And I'm like, okay, so no pigs. So we're trying to buddy rat. I don't know. I'm trying to just find something a little leaner to feed her than jumbo rat, the retired breeder rats all the time, something I can throw in there that's a little leaner, but plus I just wanted to see her eat something else.
But the retics you do only frozen?
What's that?
The retics you only do frozen thawed?
Oh, I don't do retics. These are my larger carpet pythons.
Oh, the carpet pythons.
And I do live. They'll eat live. I have no problem with, I'll feed them live retired jumbos. I've seen a retired breeder, even with their big O teeth, whenever you get an 8.5 foot carpet python, if they try to gnaw on that scale protects them good. Unless they just happen to get them just right. I just watch when I do it. But no, rabbits and pigs, no, you always do those frozen thawed, especially the rabbits, because they have gnarly claws and they'll rape. Yeah. They'll just literally drag the scales right off the snake and rip right into them with them. So you pretty much have to do the rabbits either frozen thawed or pre-killed.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap, everybody. Those of you in the chat, thanks for showing up. We had a good turnout tonight. Really appreciate the support, everybody. And until next time, we will catch you later.